Often imitated, but never duplicated. This is Cardinal Pairadice. All right, AC. Well, Florida State got the better of us, my friend. A little disappointed. We were both there last Thursday night. We played hard. We gave good effort. Gave them a heck of a game. Leading with 5.5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Couldn't get the job done. They actually punted to us down. We were deep in our own end and just offense.
I hate to say it, JP. We got out coached that game. We just got out coached. I hate to say it, but we did.
Well, 1 of 11 on third down conversions. You're not going to beat the number 2 team in the nation if you only go 1 for 11 on third down conversions. It didn't give our defense a chance to rest at all, which I also believe contributed to the defense not playing as well as they have this year.
I think that also contributed to us changing up the defense and not being as aggressive. You know, when we got up, 21 points, and we just weren't aggressive.
No, I think we played a lot of man-to-man defense in the first half and seemed to kind of check them off the line of scrimmage so they really couldn't get into their patterns, kind of threw the timing off. And Jameis struggled. He threw 3 interceptions, which is great. I mean, we picked him 3 times. So I was real proud of the defensive backs and their effort. Second half, we talked about it at the game. We just did not make the adjustments they did. And they scored 35 points on us in the second half. It was embarrassing. I mean, I hated that we just collapsed. But, we're sitting there. Neither one of us ever had the feeling that we had that game won. Yeah. Gerard Holloman, when he caught his second interception of the game, and he had it back to about the 38-yard line, but he fumbled it, and they recovered it. Yeah. I thought that was one of the biggest plays of the game right there because that was a really big turning point for them. I think it took the wind out of their sails for about 22 seconds, and then they recovered the ball when Gerard fumbled it, trying to do a little bit too much, trying to get an extra yard or two, and that one stung.
And I tell you what, I would have never guessed that our defense would have given up 41 points. And this time, a few weeks ago, I would have never thought our offense would score 31 points. Mm-hmm. So, I think we scored enough to win, but, man, my hat's off to, Florida State, and they were just too deep for us. They could go into, third, fourth string, basically Florida All-American. So, they're recruiting every year.
Yeah,
recruiting it down there,
and they've been having top 2-3 recruiting classes every year, and it showed. Those guys were deep. They played well. I give them a lot of credit too. We just didn't quite have enough horses to get the job done. Some bright spots. Michael Dyer for sure. 28 rushes, 134 yards, a couple of touchdowns, which stellar. 3
touchdowns.
3 touchdowns. I'm sorry, 3 touchdowns. Yeah. And so his last 2 games, he's had 52 carries, 307 yards, and 4 touchdowns. So that's pretty good for Michael. And, of course, your guy Devontae was unstoppable. I think he had 21 or 22 NFL scouts there. And I'm not sure they were all there to see Devontae, but I'm sure they noticed him.
Yeah, I'm sure he's somewhere on the radar.
He's got to be now.
8 catches. 214 yards. I don't know when the last time we've had a guy with that type of production, in one game. So
yeah, it was solid. And I told you that on that very first drive, I felt like we should have come away with some points. I know you said they should they should punch it in the end zone, being at home, but I still think that and I'm not trying to second. I said I don't agree with this call when it was 4th down. I said, man, we should kick a field goal here, and everybody's saying go for it, go for it, go for it. Come away with something, because we kind of shocked them there. We stopped them, and then here we are on the goal line with a big play to Devontae Parker, and then we come away empty. And
I'm gonna stick with my theory is that I do believe we should have went for it, but I do believe that we have somebody in the backfield that's a little bit bigger than Michael Dyer to punch the ball in. Put one of your linebackers in there. Put an offensive lineman at fullback. Put somebody in there to move that line. I mean, we put Michael Dyer in there. Not saying he's not a strong
power running back.
Yeah, but he's such a little guy. And he gives he gives up so much when he runs a little bit high. So, you know, I'm sure there's somebody, we got to have a heavy package somewhere. And Michael Dyer should not be in the heavy package. We're on the goal line.
I gotcha. Well, anyway, so we'll move on. Our general team update. Pio Vituve was missing for that game, and he's going to be out the next game that we have coming up as well. And he's a run stopper. And the funny thing was, we were a little upset that Jameis is playing, and then the running back there that they had, Carlos Williams, who was involved in a controversial situation down there in Florida State. But, you know, be careful what you wish for sometimes, because Dalvin Cook, the freshman kid, tore it up.
Yeah.
Tore us up. 110 yards, as little as he played, and had a couple of touchdowns, and one there at the end of the game that kind of sealed the victory for him. But, you know, that kid was jet quick.
Oh, yeah.
He ran the ball well. We couldn't stop him at all. Those fly sweeps, and they were just doing all kinds of crazy stuff, but they did a good job.
I think we seemed to kind of nick
O'Leary
Williams up early.
I got you. I'm sorry.
He had a few injuries, and then we put Cook in. Well, Florida State puts Cook in, and he tears us apart.
Oh.
Kind of takes me back to West Virginia when we played. When we introduced the world to Pat White.
That's right.
You know, we hurt the starting quarterback. Pat White comes in, and, you know, he has 2-3 good years at West Virginia, and he goes to the pros. So we tend to bring some of the best players out in other teams.
That's right. Well, we did it again. But anyway, our Dice Players of the Week, I talked about it a little bit earlier, but Devontae Parker, I thought, played awesome. 8 catches, 214 yards. The only thing I was disappointed in is that he didn't get in the end zone. I thought he really should have on that 71-yard completion.
He had to wait on the ball, though.
A little bit, but he did, and that gave the DB time to catch up, or the safety time to come over and catch up with him. But I wish he would have gotten the end zone, and maybe he's just not quite at 100% yet.
And he said that. He said, "Hey, if I was 100%, I probably would have scored."
Okay,
and I believe that.
I mean, that's 2 games now that Louisville's had huge plays, and we didn't get in the end zone. It cost us a win at Clemson, and who knows what it would have done against Florida State. So my offensive player is Devontae Parker. What about you?
Well, I've been waiting for a few years now to see Michael Dyer take that next step, and I think he's done some great things. I think he 28 carries, 134 yards. He showed his durability. You know, he's doing the things that we need done right now, and it's exciting to see him run the ball like he's running it. So Michael Dyer is my Dice player.
And I think, you know, Michael runs with a low center of gravity, so it's hard to bring the guy down. He's a monster. But I think you can also attribute that to the offensive line blocking a little bit better now. You know, it's not that Dominique Brown and Corver Lamb and Radcliffe and all those guys aren't good running backs, because I think now if you put those guys in, they're probably going to get a lot of yards too. The offensive line seems to be doing a better job.
They gel.
Yeah, they are. They're holding on their blocks a little bit longer, and they're clearing out some holes. So everybody could get there. My defensive Dice player of the week is James Burgess. James had a big interception in this game. He had a bunch of tackles. So James Burgess gets my defensive Dice player of the week. He's gotten that a few times from me. What about you, bud?
Well, again, Mr. Holloman, you know, he's I don't know. I think it's uncanny how he can put himself in a position to get those interceptions like he's getting them. I think he's, at 10 now?
11.
11, leading the nation.
Lead the nation.
Up for the Jim Thorpe Award and all kind of awards. So Mr. Holloman is my defensive player. And usually I go with Todd Grantham and a defensive player. But this week I won't do that. I mean, Florida State ran the same play.
JP,
4 times. We never adjusted. I don't understand that. You know, there's somebody up in the box. They got to be looking down on this and saying, hey, we need to do something different. You know, I don't know if somebody got hurt. I don't know if somebody got nicked up. But some things that we were doing early that were successful, we didn't do in the second half. And there's something wrong with that, you know, on defense. And this is our first kind of breakdown on defense. And it's kind of disheartening to see us do it against Florida State. And I hope that we don't have a defensive letdown this week at Boston College.
Yeah, it was Dalvin Cook, the freshman running back. He kept coming out of the backfield, and there was no linebacker. Nobody else picked him up. I know on 3 straight plays, I think we got like 36 yards on 3 straight plays. Same play.
Yep.
So I don't understand that one either, but, hey, that's all right. So now wide receiver talk, buddy. It's all yours. You got a lot to talk about again this week.
Well, again, we had a few guys show up. Again, Devontae, he is showing why he's probably going to be a number one, first-round draft pick. I don't know about number one, but he's high on the draft charts. All the pro scouts were in to see him, and and scout some of the other guys we got. Gerald Christian, he caught a touchdown, which he hadn't got his hands on a lot of the footballs in the past week. Caught 4 balls. As a receiving core, we were 20. We had 20 catches for 330 yards. So we're the good thing is we're improving every week. We've got so many guys rotating in and out. We just gotta continue to do the small things. I think James Quick needs to kind of, he's so quick in his motions and wants to move so fast. I think he's got to slow down just a little bit and learn to use his speed when he has to. He's just moving so quick out there, and it's kind of, it doesn't look good right now. Mm-hmm. So he's got to concentrate and do some of the things that he needs to do to keep his concentration up. And I think and it shows on some of the punts, when he's catching those punts back there, he's trying to go too quick. And I think he needs to secure that ball just a little bit more. But, again, I believe we got the best receivers in the country. I mean, we got Spider-Man back. Devontae Parker is putting on a show. You would think with the numbers he's putting up, he'd been here all year. But, again, we got the best receivers in the country.
Yeah, I agree. All right. My favorite segment, one of my favorites, probably is my favorite segment, actually. The Cardinal Pairadice Crapped Out Teams of the Week. As Lee Corso once said on SportsCenter on game day, that dog is ugly, referring to the Georgia Bulldogs. Here they are, the world's largest outdoor cocktail party, Jacksonville, Florida, the annual meeting with the Florida Gators. Will Muschamp, he's bunkered in. He's not, he doesn't want to talk about the fact he's probably going to lose his job. His back's against the wall. All the players don't know what to say. They're not talking to the media. I believe on last week's show you said it's time to make a change in Florida, which is coming. And we both agreed that Georgia was probably going to run over them. I don't know what to think now because Florida goes in there and whips them 38-20. So my crapped out team of the week is Georgia. And now, with that being said, Florida might make it to a bowl game. They've got at Vandy. That's a winnable game. Yep. They got South Carolina at home. Then they got Eastern Kentucky at home. And then they got at Florida State. They're not going to win that game. But I think they only have to win 2 of their last 4 games. And they're bowl eligible. Yeah. So that's pretty good. But anyway, Georgia, you're my crapped out team of the week.
Well, I don't research a lot. But Texas A&M, I think they crapped out. I know they lost a quarterback, suspended for a couple games, but the superior athletes that they have at Texas A&M, somebody should take over. Somebody should step up. Somebody should do something. There's no reason that you should barely beat Louisiana Monroe. There's not Texas A&M.
No, I'm embarrassed too because I actually thought they were a great team, and we talked about that a few episodes ago, that I thought Texas A&M was going to be a really good team. Yeah, Kenny Hill or Thrill, whatever his name is, and not much thrill about for me right now, but he's been suspended for a couple of games, but I believe they were going to start that freshman anyway. But my gosh, they won by 5 points or something. That's embarrassing, and that shouldn't happen.
And you crapped out, Texas A&M.
All right, Texas A&M and Georgia, you guys are crapped out teams of the week. All right, our Paradise picks of the week, AC. Actually, no, I'm sorry, not that. We got 2 games against the spread. AC and I didn't pick games this past weekend because Louisville was off and we didn't tape another episode. So that was, anyway, going forward, Alabama is going to travel to Baton Rouge to play a night game at LSU. Mm-hmm. This is one of the biggest games on the schedule for these 2 teams. Alabama's ranked number 5, LSU's number 16. Alabama's favored by 6.5 points. Both teams have a lot to play for. I think 6.5 points is too much. I'm going to take LSU at home in the 6.5 points.
Wow. Well, LSU, they're young. They're still learning. They got the young quarterback in there. I mean, he's good. He's good, but they won't beat the experience of Alabama. Alabama has gotten it together. They were embarrassed a few weeks ago when everybody said, oh, they lost it. They're a step behind. You know, they take pride in their program. I think they're going to beat LSU at home by 14.
14, okay. And then let's head out to the Big 12, a huge matchup in the Big 12. Baylor is going to travel to Oklahoma, to Norman, Oklahoma, to take on the Sooners. Baylor's ranked number 12. Oklahoma's ranked number 15. Oklahoma's favored by 6 at home. This is going to be a good game. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think Oklahoma is going to cover in this game. It's 6. I think they'll win by 7. I don't think they'll cover by much, but I think Oklahoma's got enough offense to get it done. I think Baylor has a little bit better defense than Oklahoma, but I believe Oklahoma will get it done and cover this week.
Baylor's going to outscore them and beat them by 13.
Okay.
That was easy.
Okay. Speaking of easy, we're going to roll on into our easy button picks of the week. Now, 3 good games. There's a lot of good games on the schedule this week. We got Notre Dame, number 10, traveling to Arizona State, taking on the Sun Devils. I'm going to pick Arizona State in that game. I'm going to take the home team in that one.
Well, JP, I agree. Arizona State's a tough team. They're going to come after Notre Dame. They're going to keep coming after Notre Dame. They're not going to give up like some of these lightweights they've been playing. So, Arizona State.
Okay. Kansas State and TCU. Kansas State's going to travel to TCU. TCU is a very, very, very good team at home, and I like TCU. I like Kansas State too. Bill Snyder's always got those guys seemingly in the top 10, top 15, top 25 anyway, but I'm going to take TCU at home. I think they'll get it done against Kansas State, but I think it's a close game and a low-scoring game.
I got 2 words to say to you on that one. Bill Snyder. It won't happen. Kansas State, they're gonna take TCU down at home, and it's all about coaching.
Okay, yeah, he's a good coach. And then Ohio State, number 14, versus Michigan State. Big Ten matchup. This is the biggest Big Ten matchup of the year, if you ask me. Sparty's got them at home, and I like Michigan State's home field advantage. I like Michigan State's defense. I think they'll stop Urban Meyer, and I think they'll beat Ohio State. I think this is a close game as well, but I think Michigan State will win by 4 points.
Well, being from Michigan, I'm going to stick with home team, and I just don't think Ohio State's played anybody of Michigan State's caliber. And I don't think they can last the whole game with Michigan State at home. I'm going to pick Sparty.
All right, I like that too. And Michigan State, one of the teams he's mentioning is Michigan State did travel to Eugene to play the Oregon Ducks. I'm going to get a little plug for the Ducks because they did win. I can talk about them. Oregon plays Utah this week. I didn't put it on a card because I know you're getting tired of me picking the Ducks, but Oregon really has to be careful this week. Utah is a very good team. They're a very good defensive team, and I don't know what the spread is in that game, but Oregon better be careful. So watch out, Ducks this week. I like them to win, but be careful. All right, so let's move on. Let's take care of Louisville's next game. Going to travel to Chestnut Hill Alumni Stadium to play the Boston College Eagles, Golden Eagles. 7:15, so they made it a night game, which I think gives a little bit of an advantage to Boston College. Steve Adazio, good coach. It's a really important game for Louisville. They're a half game ahead of us on our side of on the standings. They've only lost 2 games. We've lost 3 conference games. It's going to be interesting to see how Louisville responds to the Florida State game because I know they put a lot of effort, they put a lot of time, they put their heart, they left it all on the field. So it's going to be real interesting to see how we come back after that Florida State game, AC. So that's the biggest question mark for me. Boston College loves to run the ball. They ran it down Virginia Tech's throat last week and beat Virginia Tech at Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech is not playing that well this year. They beat them 33-31. I think Louisville's going to be able to stop their run, though, and that's really what they want to do. They're a little bit one-dimensional, but they do have Tyler Murphy, who graduated from Florida and transferred to BC. So he's their quarterback, and Tyler Murphy's a good quarterback. So, you know, he has the ability to run. He's a decent passer. But I think that Louisville will get the job done. And it's kind of funny because every time I pick the offense to score points, we don't. And I think the defense is going to hold them down to few points and they don't. I think Louisville's going to find a way to win this game, but I think it's going to be close again. And I'm going to say 24-21. Louisville's going to only win by a field goal.
Well, our defense, they're full of experienced guys. I mean, I think we need to, hopefully we work this week to get some depth behind some of those starters because we can't get tired the rest of the year. You know, we're going to go up there. It's going to be a night game. It's going to be cold. You know, we're going to be refreshed. We're going to be ready to play. And I think the experience we have on defense will pull us through this game. You know, I think offense keeps rolling. I don't see offense going backwards. So my pick for this game, I think we're gonna beat Boston College. I want to say 28-14.
Okay, 28-14, 24-21. So that's a wrap for this week. I'm JP.
And I'm AC.
This is Cardinal Pairadice.
And
that's how we roll. Okay, we got another special guest picker here. Slick Nick's back for a second try. He's going to pick a couple of college games this week, Nick. So, first off, the Michigan Wolverines are going to take on Northwestern Wildcats. Michigan or Northwestern? Who's your pick, buddy?
Pick it. You said it.
Northwest.
Northwestern.
Speak up, Northwestern?
Northwest.
Northwestern.
Northwestern.
All right, Northwestern. He likes Northwestern. I think that's probably a good pick. In the second game he's going to try, he likes the Big Ten. Penn State is going to travel to Indiana to take on my Mighty Hoosiers.
The Mighty Hoosiers.
Who do you think's going to win, Penn State or Indiana?
Indiana.
Indiana.
Wow.
So Slick Nick's going with Northwestern and Indiana this week. Good luck, buddy.
All right, you Hoosier fans.